All right. Just your average Joe. What's up, guys? How you doing tonight?
Hello.
You ready for some Batman spoilers?
Hmm.
I am indeed.
Batman spoiler review. Here we go. Couldn't wait. Been wanting to do this for almost a week. I guess no. I mean, Joanne, I know you saw it way before I did. I had to wait till Friday. I went to see it by myself Friday morning. So, got to finally see it. We're gonna finally review it. I'm gonna break it down to three categories. We're gonna do this show on three categories. We're gonna go over the positives first. There was a lot of them. Depending on who you talk to, Kitty or Juwan, some negatives. And then one last question, and I'll get into that later. So everybody's okay. I want to just make sure everybody's okay. Juwan, you good? Kitty, you good? Mr. E's in the house. Yo, Joe.
Mr. E.
What's up, Mr. E? How you doing? Okay, let's get into it. Let me get to the bubbles. Let's start off with the positives. Juwan, it's been a long time. Uh, Glad you're back. We're gonna start with you. I know, I did watch your spoiler and your non-spoiler review, so I pretty much know how you felt about the film.
Mhm.
Uh, just going on the positives, what did this film make you feel?
Everything. This won't be a long response at all. Everything was positive. Everything about this movie was easily not just the greatest Batman movie ever by a mile. Greatest comic book movie easily. The accuracy was insane.
Mhm.
To be able to pull from Hush, elements of there was a little bit of Court of the Owls in there. It was definitely Long Halloween, obviously with the big reveal of Catwoman. Um, I've never felt Batman like this, like ever. It was an experience. It was an experience, and the whole theater was just like speechless for like 5 minutes, and then they started clapping. Like it was surreal. Um, no one's ever hit the closest thing to accuracy I think I've ever seen from a comic book movie is Logan and Watchmen. That's it. Nothing else has ever been remotely this close to being accurate to its core of what the character is supposed to be. So, yeah, those are my positives because it was everything.
Okay, I am trying to remove my logo. So I mean, I heard everything you said, but I'm trying to remove my logo. But Mystery. I absolutely love this movie. I still try to digest what I saw, so I won't be going into too much detail. Yeah, I mean it's hard. I mean it's very hard. I even said that on my straight out of the theater review. It's very hard, and Derpy Gaming agrees with you, Juwan. Well, Batman San. Um, yeah, I mean, look, I do agree with you, and then obviously I'll get into it when it's my turn. I do feel there were a lot of positives. There were. Um, so I do agree with you. Kitty, how'd you feel as far as positives go?
Positives. I thought the characters acting phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the as a standalone, great, great. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like John said, comic book accuracy, it hits nails. Like there was some 0 year. Um, I saw some year one comic accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Comic book hits the nail on the head. Positives, good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, great stuff there. I like that. We're so used to seeing the beginning of a Batman film. It's so freaking played out. His parents die. We see what happens. We see he's a play. It's so played out,
I agree.
and we
Yeah.
got to see something different. Positives, good stuff.
Yeah.
These are the good things that I liked about it.
Yeah.
It was a nice little, you know, dark, dark noir film. I like those types of movies. It's good stuff.
Anyone that doesn't think is the best Batman, you're blind by nostalgia. Cough, cough. The Nolan trilogy.
The Nolan trilogies, as a trilogy, the trilogy is terrible. Okay,
Hmm.
as a trilogy, the trilogy is terrible.
Yeah.
I'm as a, I'm not gonna lie. After the Dark Knight, you know what I mean. The Joker movie. It's
Hmm.
terrible. The Joker movie by far is my favorite Batman movie, and I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
So that's just how it's going to be. Everything before, after that, could take a walk.
I mean, you could argue Batman Begins. A lot of people put Batman Begins up there as well. But yeah, no, again, I look. I'll go into my positives. I think I thought the fight sequences were great. I loved the narration by Batman. I love the fact that we get a narration by him, and obviously he's keeping journal logs. I like that. I like the feel of Gotham. I understand where Matt Reeves was going. You know, he wanted a very dirty, dark Gotham. A lot of rain, obviously, that's pulled from Seven. We knew that uh, he was inspired by Seven, Zodiac, and probably some elements of Saw, Chinatown, which I saw once a while ago, and a few other things. So there were a lot of inspirations that Matt Reeves drew, which you can, definitely see. I seen a lot of the Riddler character. I'm sorry, reverse that. I saw a lot of the John Doe character that Kevin Spacey played in the movie Seven, portrayed by Paul Dano. So there was a lot of things that were, that I was feeling. I liked. I love the POV shots, especially where, and I also too to piggyback on the POV shot, that shot where he kind of like wing glides, but fails, shows you that like he's still learning. Like he is a man of tech, he is a man of this, but even in his detective work, a lot of people were praising the detective work. He failed at a couple of things. In fact, you can even argue him and Gordon really didn't solve anything. The Riddler's the one that really came in and told him what was going on. So there were a lot of things that you can see that they're building, and that's where I agree with you, Kitty. What Matt Reeves is building and using this film solely as a platform and what else is going to come from this is beautiful. It's great. Catwoman, Selena Kyle, great. My favorite version of Selena Kyle in any film, in any adaptation is this. Selena Kyle is my favorite. So really quick, I love the world building. Great seeing Batman solve riddles and be a detective. That's the other thing that I wanted the most was Batman's detective work. A lot of the other films didn't show that, and I also liked loved the dynamic between him and Gordon. And I think Jeffrey Wright played an absolutely amazing, what do you call it, Commissioner or Lieutenant Gordon. And of course, I put that as a positive. I don't really know, and maybe we'll get into this later with the cameo. I don't know if I like the cameo where it was. I probably would have enjoyed the end credit scene. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about, the cameo, right?
The Joker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get into the other pro later. Okay. Let me answer some questions and then we'll get to cons. Kitty, I'm going to start with you with the cons only because Juwan, I don't think he's going to have any. Matt Reeves' Gotham City felt Burton's Gothic architecture meets Nolan's realism. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Everyone has their favorites. This was mine, hands down. No, I get it. I will say this: I never want to hear anything about the Twilight ever again. Yeah, I know, definitely, and I knew that too. Everybody was given, whenever people were saying that, Twilight, Robert Pattinson. I never thought he was going to do a bad job, and he definitely did not do a bad job.
He did not do a bad job.
No, I never want to hear Robert Pattinson isn't a good actor because he wasn't. No, and that's not on him. And I honestly didn't even think that the Twilight movies were bad. But people just had, their people said that about not many of you are probably old enough to know. I'm sure your dad is, but a lot of people bitched and moaned when Michael Keaton got the job back in 1989 or whenever whatever the casting was made official back in the late 80s. People were like, Michael Keaton as Batman?
I don't think there was a single one of us who didn't bitch and moan when Ben Affleck got the job.
Exactly. Twilight is amazing. Don't be a hater. And I agree. I don't think it was bad. They were bad. My only con was the runtime. It could have been trimmed down a little bit. I think that's going to be a running theme. I think
that is a con of mine.
Most people have that as probably their biggest con. And again, it's hard to say that about this. It's hard to use the words cons in the context of this film because there are few. But to me, yeah, I would probably say not only I don't think it's so. When you say runtime, right? Look at the movie Endgame. I loved Endgame. Endgame was a half hour longer than this movie, you know, so it's not necessarily runtime.
You
I
don't
think it's more pacing.
feel that though.
Yeah.
I felt I think after an hour in,
Ooh.
I did not, I started feeling every single minute of this movie. And then it started to pick up again.
Yeah,
And
no, this film
started
definitely had it had crescendos, but it had crescendos
and
in the
it
wrong
waxed and waned a lot.
it had crescendos sometimes in the wrong spots. I'm glad well, first of all, Robert said he didn't like Keaton, and some people didn't. I'm glad Batman is a detective in this movie, right? Effing finally, and I agree. Paul Dano was excellent as the Riddler, and Colin Farrell as Penguin was amazing.
Oh
I
yes,
can't wait for a show to come out.
yes, he was
Um, all right, so cons, Kitty.
the how long it was. And okay, now mask that. Okay, now you got to give me a little bit of credit. Okay, I sat in a packed theater. It was
with
packed
without AC.
without any air conditioning. I was angry, and I felt every single minute of that 3 hours and whatever minutes it was. I felt it every single second of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was just and the movie to me just it wasn't like, oh my god, I have to be so interested in the first hour of it. It was just like, ooh, slow burn, wax, a slow burn. You know what I mean? And that's what was kind of killing me a little bit.
Okay.
So that is a con for me. And I think that's why I didn't enjoy it as
Oh,
much as I would have wanted to.
that would have been nice to switch it to negatives. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, everybody, and I've had experiences with that, and I said that. I really do feel sometimes it could be dependent on who you're with. It could be dependent on the people around you that you don't know, but they're just fucking talking or just making the movie going experience bad. I've been in,
Also, same thing. You know how Joanne said everybody in the theater was enjoying it, hit and clapping their hands. Everybody in my movie theater hated just as much as I did.
yeah, no, there were a lot of, there was one.
Because we were all hot and miserable at the same time too, and
But
we all
that's what I was
felt it.
about to say. It could have been that. I'm not saying, look, James has gone on to say that his experience with Captain America First Avenger, when we saw it at midnight back in July of, what was that, 2011 or something like that, there was no AC and we were in the middle of a heat wave
Yeah,
and he was miserable. So I get it.
yeah,
That could be, I don't know if that was an underlying factor or a main factor for you, but it could be.
yeah.
I will say this though. I was very surprised. One person clapped. One person. And I heard other people chatter. And the theater was actually mildly packed. It wasn't fully packed like No Way Home, but there was mild chatter. Like the one guy that clapped said, "This is the best fucking movie I've ever seen." And then another guy answered a call and goes, "Yeah, no, I just saw Batman. Yeah, it was all right." Like there was, and that was
Yeah.
the somewhat of the chatter in my theater. And our AC, well, we didn't need an AC because
Well, that's what I'm saying. I heard all the chattering around me, and everybody just seemed like, oh, it was all right, And I don't know if we were all just miserable together. You know what I mean? I think
it could
that's
have
kind
been.
of what it was.
It could have been because look, Derby Gaming. I saw it at the IMAX fan event first. It was an amazing experience. Uh, Robert, well, Mr. Reese says the runtime didn't bother me that much. I sat through the Godfather. Well, I mean, me too. Godfather is my favorite movie of all time. I'm older than you guys. I was drawn in. Time went by. Time, no issue. So, all right. So the people in the comments feel that the time wasn't an issue. When I look at the cons, when I looked at other people's ratings, not just myself. So here's the thing. Here's what I did, Kitty. I don't know if you did this. I left the movie theater. I have a very loose ranking in my mind where this film fits.
Mhm.
And I felt broken. I felt like is something wrong with me? Because you saw all the early reviews.
Yeah,
Masterpiece, best Batman ever, best Batman, well, not best Batman ever, best Batman film ever. Because you could probably argue that this might be the best Batman ever in
right.
Robert Pattinson, if you want. I mean, definitely better than Bale. We didn't get much of Affleck, right? You really didn't get it. He didn't get his own film, so you can't really put Affleck in that conversation.
Yeah,
Although we got enough of him if you wanted to. And Michael Keaton did get 2 films, but it's so far removed. I don't know. And they're 2 different films too.
Yeah.
I can probably argue. I can see the argument. I should say, if you say Pattinson's the best Batman ever, and I'll agree with you. As far as best Batman film itself, I don't know. I just didn't know where this was. So I
Yeah.
did a few things. I read other reviews because I wanted to see where was I going wrong.
I did the same thing, Joe.
But to my surprise, I looked at 20 different rankings for all Batman films. This film was as low as 6 and 7, never higher than number two. Um, Batman, well, the Dark Knight is usually number one. That's the growing theme in all. But I did see somewhere Michael Keaton's Batman was number one. I don't see that, so I really don't find that list that credible. But at the same time, so I'm like, wait a minute, okay. And then I watched YouTube reviews and whatever, and they all said the same thing to the point where I was going with. I was like, all right, so where are these reviews saying that it's masterpiece if everybody else that I follow is kind of in line with you and I? I think this is the third best Batman film of all time. That's how high I put it. I put it at number 3. But I don't know, and that's where I'm going to go with my negatives. I don't see this as a masterpiece. I think the pacing was slow. It felt like a 3-hour film. Even the way Batman and other characters walk and move. Like, I understand you want to be methodical. And I understand Matt Reeves, he wants to hold on the grim and the bleak, but he held on so many shots to the point where even the way Batman walked into a room, I'm like, dude, hurry the fuck up. I got somewhere to go. Like, he literally walked as if, and I was telling this to James, I don't think James really understood what I meant. Have you ever gone to the bathroom? You ever had to go to the bathroom so hard that you were afraid to walk because if you did, like the closer you got to the bathroom,
Oh yeah, you start tinkling.
you start slowing down, like you freeze because you can't move. That's how Batman started. Well, that's how I do. That's how Batman. All right. I wasn't crazy about the final act. I get it. Anybody could be the Riddler, and the Riddler had henchmen and people that followed him. And the henchmen showed up to Madison Square Garden or Gotham Square Garden. They did absolutely nothing. It was like, how many of them with rifles, and they got one shot off. They like I said, they were pretty much pointless. And also, it was a very weird time for the Bat and Cat to kind of share a moment. Like they're like, oh, like we're getting all attacked. There's people drowning below us, but hey, let's share a moment. And then that's when they drop their guard and somebody, the guy attacks. What do you call it, Catwoman?
I
The
do.
biggest issue I have, all right, we can throw away runtime. If you want to take that off, let's say, okay, forget about runtime, forget about all the list of issues I have. When I say list, I mean there's 5 things here, but forget about the actual 5 things I think that I could have changed in the film. For me, with any film going in, it's about rewatchability. I
Yes.
have, like, No Way Home, I couldn't wait to see it a second time. Most of the Marvel films, most of the Avenger films, I couldn't wait to see it a second time. I don't have an urge. I'm going to wait for it to come out on HBO Max in 40 something days or whatever it is. I don't have the rewatchability urge to go and see it again. Not necessarily because of its length, but it didn't do anything to me in all the 3 hours I watched. It wasn't like that definitive scene where you're like, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have no idea.
I do have to go back and place this on my positives list, though.
Yeah.
May I, real quick?
Yes.
The message of the movie was superb.
Okay.
Where I think there's no message in any Batman or superhero movie if you think about it, okay? There was one in this film, and I thought that was I thought that was great, okay?
Okay.
There was a message here, there was a tone, a message. It correlates to real life. It had a message, and I want to put that on my positives list because I don't ever go into a superhero movie going, "Oh, there's gonna be a message, a takeaway." You know what I mean? This one had that. You know what I mean? Because super movies are usually like goofy, and you go in, you popcorn flicks. This one wasn't one of those. This one had a message, so I'm gonna throw that on my positives. I don't want to crap all over this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, and I mean, I just said it was my third favorite of all time. You know,
I would throw that up there. Yeah,
yeah.
I would say that. Yeah.
Behind what? Well, for me, Dark Knight and Michael Keaton's Batman, 1989. I think Michael Keaton's Batman is my second favorite. Apparently, I'm a
The one with
clown.
Catwoman, right? But
Uh,
like her?
these movies, no, what?
No.
That's Batman Returns. These movies are these critics' opinions, not gospel. This is my favorite. No, it's not. Look, again, like any movie, it's your opinion. And most of the people, no, but most of the things I was talking about, these aren't even on critics. These are just either fellow YouTubers or people that have websites, reputable websites that have done. Because I wanted to see if it fell in line with some of my ranking, my loose ranking. I also need to rewatch Batman 1989. I might, I might flip it. I might put Batman number two. I don't know. Um, yeah, Joe is a clown, Batman son. I mean, okay. I place Pattinson below Keaton, but still above Batfleck and Adam West. This Batman was so similar to Keaton in terms of voice and whatnot. This is the only in terms of my enjoyment level, and that's the same thing. And that's what it's really about. We can critique like visuals, we can critique cinematography and or score or whatever, but the main fact is, how did it make you feel leaving the theater? Did you want to go back and rewatch it 10 times over with your friends? Is there specific parts in the movie that make you want to talk about, or hey, the specific dialogue, specific quotable dialogue? This film was for me forgettable in that terms, but still gave you the best Batman that we've ever gotten. I think one of the better Batman stories, right? With like Juwan said, they interpreted some of the Hush stuff. Batman Year One, but obviously this is Batman Year
The Long
Two.
Halloween. That
The
was
Long Halloween, yeah, the Long Halloween. They started out on Halloween, and yes, and hold on really quick, and one other thing I did, I just found a little weird too, and this was the whole tone of the film, and I get it's serious. Alfred was in a coma. And first thing he does, instead of missing him to me, it was just like, you lied to me. You're like, you literally waiting in the hospital for him to wake up and say that. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm a little weird. And again, I know it was keeping in line with the Seven film, right? And how David Fincher shot that, and a lot of rain. I think sometimes a little too. I don't know. Did you think it was a lot of rain, Kitty?
oh, uh, I mean, it was very Watchmen-y.
I thought it was more seven.
I mean, it's like all those
I
films.
think this Batman had more water than Aquaman did. But yeah. So what was I saying? What do you call? But the portrayal, this version of the Riddler, right?
Oh, it was great. He was fantastic.
Really good. And I do like some of the that one scene. If you want to talk about scenes that stood out to me, besides everything that involved Catwoman, was the 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 Batman and the way the Riddler, the way they brought them out in the film, right? The Riddler was in the shadows, scare like that was kind of almost like a jump scare when you first see him because he's in the shadows and you just see his mask right before he jumps the mayor, and then of course with the thugs and the gangs in the streets because they saw the symbol, they all had that like, what if Batman's there? I did like that until he finally does come into the light. I
Yeah.
do like the way that Matt Reeves mirrored those two characters, Batman coming into the light and the Riddler coming into the light. So, like I said, there were a lot of things that Matt Reeves did do well with this, and that's why I feel as a starting point, I I think this movie was for me like almost like Batman Begins was to Nolan's trilogy. Probably wasn't. It's probably not going to be my favorite, but it was a solid movie, and I think that's what this was.
He did Let Me In, right? Right?
Yeah, he did Let Me In.
Yeah.
He did two of the Planet of the Apes films, but the two I didn't really like. I still like the original better. I don't think the last two were bad, the sequels, but I still like the original when it comes to Planet of the Apes. Um, really quick, and then I'm going to get to Jawan. But Jawan, I don't even think you're going to say anything anyway. I'm a movie buff. I critique very tough. This Batman was great to me. Why does the rain matter? It is set the mood. No, I get it, and it matters to me because it's just like I get it. It's raining, but I when you go to the Dark Knight, right? Obviously, the Batman fight sequences. I'll read this comment in a second. The Batman fight sequences are mostly at night, but I do like that there's a break. I do like that we get a lot of day shots. We get a lot of clear shots. It's a very clean film. So Nolan distorts his films with sound, and Matt Reeves distorted this film a little bit with rain. So it means like pick your poison. You know, do you want to hear the dialogue well, like we did in Matt Reeves, or do you want to see the shot? You want to see that beautiful cinematography without all that rain. All right, really quick, Mr. Regan, then Juwan. I haven't seen this much rain in a movie since the 1998 Godzilla movie, and that was and they only used to cover up the shitty, outdated looking CGI, which they didn't have to do in this film. But
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Juwan, negatives, 0.
Nope.
We already knew that.
Matt Reeves is a cool dude with a good vision. His last Planet of the Apes movie was kind of underwhelming, though. It's not a bad, just could have been better. And I said the same thing. I don't think the sequels were bad films.
Well, his like darker, scary movies like Cloverfield and Let Me In, superb.
Yeah, well, Cloverfield was great.
Yeah.
I love the Cloverfield. That was a very inventive movie because I mean that was literally shot on like a shaky cam, kind of like amateur footage. So Cloverfield was great. But let's talk about a couple of things now besides the negatives. Now, obviously, I know most of you here probably agree or think that the best Batman movie ever is this, right? And again, pending a rewatch, I do want to rewatch some of the other Batmans. I don't think I need to watch all of them, to be honest with you. I'm definitely not going to rewatch Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. They would never make anywhere near the top of the list. Batman Begins, no. There's no way Batman Begins is better than this film. And Batman Dark Knight, that might be blinded by nostalgia. I will give you that. Maybe Batman Dark Dark Knight. What the fuck? Sorry. Batman 1989. But the Dark Knight to me is untouchable. In that regard. I mean, when you compare the two movies, I mean, first of all, the story itself, if you compare the two stories, the difference is comic book accuracy and source material, right? Christopher Nolan's Batman films, I will agree, are not comic book accurate. Those aren't Batman stories. And I know, Jawan, I know you've come on and said that several times. Christopher Nolan's Batman's aren't Batman stories. So I agree. But for me, going into a film, and that's why it's with anything, not just comic book films, any film in general, the way a movie makes you feel is how it makes you feel. You know, going into the movie, how you experience, how you come out of the theater and how you feel, that's the ultimate tell of how you're going to rank or how you're going to, view a film. For me, it's not about comic book accuracy. To me, but also admittedly, I don't really read all the comics. I don't know most of these storylines. I can only go by how the movie made me feel. I'm not really looking, oh my God, look, I can't believe they did. I can't believe they pulled that from this book. And it's good to have source material, and that's what makes the stories richer, and it makes it more cohesive, and it makes the story that much greater and better. But when you put this side by side, oh God, if you take Christian Bale's fucking growl out, the movie's a 10. I still think I honestly think the movie is a 10. If Bale's not like this, I rewatched it.
Christian Bale's Batman voice just kills me.
I rewatched it yesterday or two days ago. And I'm like, oh my God. Every time he spoke, I'm like, dude, I'm taking a point off this fucking rating. But I don't know. Jawan, you think this is better than any movie that's ever been out?
I mean, it's in your question. Best Batman movie.
Yeah.
No one talks about Batman when it comes to The Dark Knight. They talk about Joker. That's everyone's leading. The Joker was amazing. The movie was amazing.
Hmm.
And then it's like, well, how'd you feel about Batman? Yeah, he existed. Well, no, it's a Batman movie. How did Batman make you feel? He was whatever, but the Joker was just so thrilling. And it's like, well, that's a Joker movie then. That's great. It was a good movie, but it's just not a Batman movie. To me, Batman is the guy sitting on a gargoyle while it's raining. Batman is the he produces so much fear. That's what Nolan lacked. It's the mythology of Batman. There was no fear. The Dark Knight literally starts with people parading around as Batman doing drug deals with the bat symbol out because they didn't care.
Actually, no, that's actually not true. I just watched it yesterday. They actually say, I'm not doing this tonight because so Gordon put the thing on. Gordon put the light on. And one of the cops said, "What do you think he's going to come?" No, he goes. First of all, he said, "Well, I hope he doesn't come because if he doesn't come, that means he's busy." But he goes, "I put it on because I like to remind people." So they went throughout the city and they were doing whatever illegal dealings or whatever. They looked up, saw the sign, like, "No, not tonight. I'm going home."
The Russian dude said, "What are you scared?" And then that's when the fake Batman appeared. And then there was no fear there. There was literally no fear there. No fear established. You had guys trying to parade around trying to be Batman. To me, it's the feeling of Batman. And that's why I say the feeling of Batman. Again, if you like the movie, that's not an argument I'm here to have.
Yeah.
But the best Batman movie has to be true to what Batman is. And that's why all the other avenues are important because there is a reason why headlines for this movie say best Batman ever. Because it feels like Batman. Not only is it detective, none of the Nolan movies were detective. None of them. And everyone keeps saying, well, what about the bullet scene? You mean the bullet that Alfred decoded? Alfred decoded that bullet with Bruce. So I'm like, this was more so Bruce learning on the job. Bruce having to figure out a lot of things on the spot. And what I loved about it was he did make mistakes, but that's what the Long Halloween was. He spent like a whole year getting it wrong until he got it right.
Yeah, no, I said that. I do like the fact that it shows you how young and how early in the game he is. So I do like the fact that he's flawed. I do like the fact that he didn't solve all the riddles or he needed help. Or, like I said, the flying sequence when he landed and hit himself on the underpass. I liked all that. I did. There were a lot of things I loved about this film.
This Batman, for anyone who's ever read Batman, is one of those that you feel like if you close your eyes, it is the closest thing ever. It is the closest thing ever to what you remember Batman being. And it's just the purity of it, bro. Like there's no chinks in the armor here. The Batmobile is beautiful. Your villains flow beautiful. You had so many villains, but none of them stepped over each other. It was very clear it was the Riddler's movie. Mm-hmm. You had the elements of the underworld. You had the elements of like, all right, Penguin is a player in the game that will pop up and be a big problem down the line. You get to the end credit scene where it's like, that guy will be a problem down the line. I loved it. And just the mind games when he walks in and he says Bruce Wayne and Batman's like, fuck, he knows that I'm Batman. And you go through that mental ride of shit. No, he doesn't know that he's Batman.
Yeah.
It was just, to me, like I said, I usually judge comic book movies only by its accuracy. Because you're not entertaining me as a casual viewer. You're entertaining me as someone that knows where the source is coming from. So if you can hit on all those marks, that's what Nolan didn't do. That's what Nolan refused to do. And what Reeves did with this was he set it up to where Robin fits so fucking snug in this world.
Yeah, I saw that.
So snug. Not with the boy. Everyone was assuming.
No, I don't think it's.
Robin fits in this world so perfectly because it ends with Bruce realizing he can't go about life the way he has. He has to change. And part of the biggest change for Bruce Wayne was getting Dick Grayson. So I can't wait to see where they go. I have so many different concepts for where they could go for this, but the question is best Batman movie ever. It's this by a mile because it's actually accurate to Batman, not just a good movie.
Okay. I mean, and that's why you have the discussion. That's why you have the conversation. But it's if you do phrase it that way, best Batman movie ever. Just going by Batman himself, I can understand what you're saying. If you go by other variables, and admittedly so, the Joker is a big part of what makes The Dark Knight a lot of people's favorites. And when I say a lot of people, I've still have yet to see anybody put Batman as their number one film. Again, I've seen it as low as number 7. So there's a huge disparity on how people have viewed this film. So, but at the same time, everybody, the most common denominator has been The Dark Knight, and admittedly so, it was for the Joker's performance. You take that performance out, we're probably having a different conversation. I will admit that we definitely almost are.
That matters to me. Again, even if you want to keep that in, that's fine. I'm
Yeah.
just saying no one's ever talking about Batman when they talk about that movie. That's my biggest issue. It's called The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
And not once do you hear people, when they reflect on it, talking about Batman. It's usually about the Joker.
Yeah.
The Joker, what he did, the story around it. It was
Yeah.
great.
yeah,
So it's like, well, if you left that movie and the villain was your favorite aspect of it,
Mhm.
and then we're talking best Batman movies, not best movie out of the group, just best Batman, it can't be the film that people don't really resonate with the Batman that they saw. So that's why I'm saying, to me, it's like, I understand people's list. Again, not here to argue anyone's list. I respect everyone's list.
yeah. Of course.
But come on, this Batman was overwhelmingly the conversation, good or bad. It was overwhelmingly the conversation. Riddler didn't snuff him out.
No. He definitely didn't. I'm well. The really quick. You all saw the card I posted. I don't know if I did. I know Kitty has, and I thought his scenes were cut all together, but it was only one. Yeah, no. Are you talking about the Joker scene? Wait, are you talking about the Joker cameo? So apparently there was another scene because a lot of people were like, "Well, how come the Joker scene wasn't an end credit scene?" And then Matt Reeves came out and said, "Well, there was another scene we didn't use." And that was a scene that they, and I'm hoping it's going to be in the deleted scenes in the Blu-ray. Um, the Batman actually goes to visit the Joker in Arkham to get his input on why the Riddler is writing to him or something like that. Something like that. Something of that nature. Basically go almost like a Hannibal Lecter. He goes there to get his input. So it wasn't used. So that's why the Joker was chronologically in there. That's why he's in the film. It's because he had another scene attached to it. It would have been nice to see what the Joker looks like out of the shadows, but I'm glad they're keeping it a little bit ambiguous because I want to, I want that reveal for another film. So why I said the Riddler didn't snuff him out was because I think Pattinson as the lead was especially, but Robert Pattinson, take Catwoman aside. You all know I said Selena Kyle and Catwoman, really good. I think Robert Pattinson was the best part of this film. And because he's Batman.
Should be.
He should be.
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
Colin Farrell played a great Penguin. The Riddler, on the other hand, I will say this, and we talked about this from the trailers. I thought this portrayal of the Riddler was amazing. It was so good. It was so far removed from what we got with Jim Carrey. Although I do like that playful, jokey Riddler, but obviously would never fucking fit in this film. Tonally. But I don't know if I like Paul Dano's performance. Does that make any sense?
What?
Yeah.
Paul Dano was superb.
I don't know why. When he's out of the mask, there was something. Not all the time. When when they arrest him in the diner, and you see his facial reactions go from like laughing, and then like he changes facial reactions like that.
Yeah, he's a psychopath.
That was amazing. No, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And even when he sang Ave Maria, which is like one of my favorite fucking church hymns. I mean, it's mostly sung in funerals, but I fucking loved Ave Maria, and he actually sings it in the film itself. But there was another scene. I don't think it was where he meets the Joker, but he's just like howling or go "Ooh," like that, and I'm like, all right, what's going? I'm a little taken out, but as the Riddler, are you kidding me? Like that was scary. I loved it, and that's what reminded me of the whole Zodiac. Like that's why I first of all I love the Zodiac film. I watched that like fucking 10 times.
I think that I love that he is like this psychopath in this leather suit, and then you take it off, and he's like
He
a
looks like a church boy.
nerdy church boy.
Yeah, he looks like a church boy.
It was amazing, and he is just psychotic. I think
Yeah.
that his performance was probably my favorite, besides Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah. No. Again, and there's so what? Oh, did anybody else pick up Tweedledee and Tweedledum?
Yeah.
I was just like, that's Tweedledee and because they don't call them that; they call them the twins. But I was like, that's got to be Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm not the only one that caught that. And I do like one of the other things I liked was how the Batman had to assert himself to get into the fucking club. He beat the shit out of the fucking guys, but then he goes in as Bruce Wayne, and they just basically invite him in. I love that dynamic. I love the fact that, and then of course the third time he sneaks in his ninja outfit. My one other gripe about the Robert Pattinson and Bruce Wayne, and it can easily it's going to happen later on. This is the beginning stages. I kind of wish, and I know it's early on, and Jawan, you can let me know exactly how it is in the comics. There was no separation between the two at all.
No,
you know what I mean?
but there's
None.
not supposed to be. What he's basing it off of, there's not supposed to be. That's why he ended it perfectly, where he realizes I can't
Be vengeance.
go about doing it like this.
Yeah.
But he's not supposed to be. When he first comes back, his mission was only to be Batman. He only thrived to be Batman. And it's why I'm glad Matt Reeves went that route, because no one else did. Everyone else went the playful bachelor, and it's like, no. I want the Bruce Wayne who can't figure out the difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman. He only knows Batman. That's all he ever wants to do. He wakes up Batman, goes to sleep Batman. But the movie ends where it will slowly start to progress to where that's why that funeral scene was so important when she was talking to him and she said, as far as I can tell, you haven't really done much for the city.
Yes.
And that was your biggest clue of he's going to realize towards the end, like, me not being Bruce Wayne is why so many things have fallen into what they've fallen into. I've been blind to it. I can't be blind to it anymore. So he'll be more so of a face. He'll still thrive being Batman. That'll be all he wants, but he'll understand I have to show my face during the day. To kind of just capture the essence of I am Bruce Wayne. My name still means something. You can't run Gotham without me. And that's why I think introducing the Arkhams, introducing, obviously the Waynes, introducing, obviously Hush at some point. That's why what they're setting up is why Court of the Owls will be so freaking perfect.
Which I can't wait for.
Because they're looking to come after Gotham's elite once he reestablishes himself as the elite.
I was waiting to ask you this question. The accountant that was killed, that's not supposed to be the Riddler's dad, right?
No.
Okay. Is that setting up possibly Hush's dad?
No. So
because the name that's used was Hush, right? Elliot's the last name of Dr. Was it not Charles? What is it?
No, Thomas Elliot.
Thomas
Elliot. I don't know where they're going to go. With Court of the Owls coming, there was in the Court of the Owls comic that one of the Talons was Bruce's brother.
Okay.
So I don't know where they're going to go. I thought they were going that the Riddler was Bruce's
we all thought that,
brother. But they are setting up Hush. Reeves just said in an interview that's one of his favorite characters ever. So we will get there. But what's more important is to establish Arkham. Establish how important that jail is for Gotham. And then you can slowly start to build in Hush. Because I tell you, the best thing to do when you bring in Hush is to have Hush unleash Arkham on Batman.
Okay.
And Batman have to fight Strange and Hush to get everybody back into their cells, and then obviously find out who Hush is. So a lot of the next few movies will be very tied closely to Bruce's legacy and his family name.
Yep. And there were nods to Hugo Strange. There were nods to Poison Ivy. There were even nods to the Court of Owls. We know that. I know Matt Reeves said that he would love to do a grounded version of Mr. Freeze, which I desperately. I love Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze was the only thing I liked about Batman and Robin, and that movie
But
to me was horrible.
when he says grounded, I'm like, that's a very easy thing to do. You make it sound like not you, but he was making it sound like
Well, yeah,
grounded hard
yeah,
to do. It's very easy.
yeah. I mean,
Just
he's
a
a
guy,
grounded character. He's
very
a
much so.
yeah,
He
he's
has
a
no
tragic
power.
character. He's a tragic
Right.
character. He's not really even a villain.
Well, yes, for sure. Yes, you can make that argument, but he doesn't have powers. So I'm like, you just put
Right.
the ice in the gun,
Yeah.
and you're done. That's
Yeah.
it. Like that very much.
Well,
works.
no, it's not just the gun. No. His body has to be frozen as well.
No. So that is that is an interpretation that a few things have interpreted, but mostly no.
Oh, I
He
thought
doesn't often wear a suit. Like that's
I
what
thought
they
he was
do
wearing a
some-
suit to keep himself alive and always cold.
That's what some iterations do, but not all
Oh.
of them. He doesn't have to wear the
So
suit.
maybe that's what he meant by grounded. Just stopping in to say hi and then leave. I'm seeing the movie this weekend,
Hi,
so
listeners.
okay. All right, well enjoy.
Spoiler
He doesn't have to,
alerts.
he doesn't have to wear the suit. Like you could do Bane in a grounded way, even with the Venom. It's very easy to do these characters. Like I said, it's supposed to be in a comical world, so there's no such thing as true grounded, because then you get Bane where he has wires coming out of his mouth. Like that's grounded. We don't want that.
Yeah.
I want a version of what Batman and Robin did, along with what should actually be done. Like that Bane looked great, albeit a bumbling idiot, but that Bane looked great. That can work, just in a more realistic.
I understand what you mean. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like he could be of a slender build, and then he just kind of gets a little bit more brolic. He doesn't have to get massive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's ways you could do it to where it works.
What was that he injected himself? Was that just adrenaline, or was that supposed to be? All right.
Yeah, I think he was getting cute with it being green, but it
Yeah.
was not the stuff that Bane utilized.
Okay. All right. Because that's what people think. It might have been the venom that Bane. Okay.
Because I tell you what, it wouldn't have done that.
Would have
it
pumped him up.
It would have grew him. Right.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I do, and that was the other thing too. I do love the way it ended. I will say that is definitely one of my positives. I like the fact that you see that. I mean, obviously it's dawn now, but I love the moment that he had with the woman on the stretcher. She was afraid to let go of him, and he realized that it's not, like you said, it's not about vengeance anymore. He needs to be more of a hope.
I mean, even his response to it, where he looks at her, he doesn't know what to do.
He doesn't know what to do.
He
Exactly.
doesn't know what to do. He's just not used to it. Which
Yeah.
is why I love that it wasn't a true romance between him and Catwoman, because he's just this is all new to him. And that's why I love that when she's just like, who am I kidding? You're already spoken for, as she looks up at the light. Because she understands there is nothing more important to Batman than being Batman. I don't have time for all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I said once Dick Grayson comes into the picture, it will only make Bruce's story better. Because just seeing him struggle with being a father.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we just saw him being a complete jerk to Alfred. So he realized, like, damn, you are all I have.
That's what I was saying. Like the dude was in a coma, and the only thing you could think of saying when he comes through or comes to is, "You lied to me." Like, say.
Well, to be fair, that is a massive thing to find out.
Yeah.
And it is kind of just like, all right, I spoke to the doctors. You're okay. All right, now why? Why would you lie to me? Like, why did you lie to me? So
Refresh my memory, Juwan. It could be because you and I have been talking about this movie, obviously since we first got the very first trailer. And you and I have done, well, over a year ago, I did one when, when the fandom came out over a year ago, almost 2 years ago. And then you and I did one, we talked about it when they released another one in last year's fandom.
Mm-hmm.
But why wasn't I shocked? Like, we knew ahead of time that Selena Kyle was Falcone's daughter, right?
If you read Long Halloween, yeah, that was
No, I haven't. I already knew going into the movie that she was his daughter. So was that really supposed to be a twist?
Only for people that have. Again, if you guessed it, kudos to you.
No, I didn't guess it. I didn't guess it. I knew. I don't know how I knew then.
Oh, yeah, no.
I thought it was told. I thought we already were told that that's his daughter.
Nah, that was ripped right out of Long Halloween. That was the big shock but they did it differently. Like, she knew it, but in Long Halloween, she finds out that he was her father. And even if you watch the animated movie, spoiler alert, I guess, but she finds out right before he dies, and then she kind of feels bad because she lost the only family she had. So they did it differently here. But again, knowing Long Halloween, as soon as I heard Matt Reeves say like, "Oh, we're taking elements of Long Halloween," and I saw that those two characters were in it, I'm like, "Well, that's
So
Stoner."
did we ever talk about that then? Did we ever talk about that in trailer reaction or something like that? That's his daughter?
100%. I
Okay.
definitely do that for
All
sure.
right. So then that's
Yeah.
that's what I was like, because when that whole thing happened, I was like, yeah, well, that's her dad.
Right.
And then people seemed to be shoshocked when that happened. I was like, wait a minute, how did I know that? I don't read the comics. I didn't know.
I mean, I even love
You
the
knew that
accuracy.
by Jawan.
Yeah.
I also love the accuracy of her giving him his scar. Like the scar was there,
Yeah.
but she kind of just runs the claws through again.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, the accuracy. If he had had a rose in his jacket pocket, I would have fucking fainted. Like that was the only thing missing from how accurate he was.
That and the Penguin's cigar that they wouldn't let him have.
You know what? Again, a lot of what Colin Farrell said they didn't let the Penguin do, I'm fine with because he just wasn't that big of a character.
Right, and but what about in the future though? What if moving forward?
He'll have his umbrella.
Oh, in his series, yeah.
He'll have his monocle. Yeah, they'll go all out. So that's why I wasn't worried.
So ridiculous how I did not freaking know that was Colin Farrell until I like squinted. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, no, he was literally unrecognizable. That's how great. You know, he fooled me when I first saw the trailer because I'm thinking, oh wait, yeah, I know Colin Farrell's the Penguin, but I didn't know we saw him in the very first trailer that we dropped.
That was the Penguin.
Yeah,
that was the only reason.
In the car, because all you saw was that car chase in the very first thing.
I
so
didn't know that was supposed to
yeah.
be
One other thing, really quick about the Riddler. Now, we know him saying Bruce Wayne was just to get in the head. He was saying Bruce Wayne, and then he finally flipped it and said it was the one guy we didn't get. It's the one we didn't get. So that's letting the what?
I don't think he was trying to get into his head. I think he was just telling him like, I didn't get a chance to kill Bruce Wayne. That was the one person.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. But he didn't know that at the time. At the time, he's like, wait a minute, did this motherfucker know who I am?
Right. I even love the small glance up at the camera.
Do I got to delete that camera footage?
Yeah.
I took it more so as, am I going to have to kill this motherfucker? That's what I took it as. Like, I'm going to have to kill you. Like,
so,
the camera's away.
But I was watching a breakdown of something, of the movie. And somebody came to the conclusion that can still be up for interpretation. And the only reason why they say that is, yes, he does turn around to make it known that he was saying, oh, he's the one that got away. But when they broke it down to all the riddles itself, and all the side quests that he made Batman go on, right? The guy said that I watched that the orphanage scene really didn't give Batman any information that he didn't find out through other avenues or that was absolutely needed. And that the orphanage scene was because the
dead.
What?
That's where he found out about his dad.
No, he found out about the dad.
No, it was at the orphanage. They went in there because I remember that was when it ended. Gordon was like, I think he's going after Bruce Wayne, and Bruce was already gone. That's when he was heading back home, calling Alfred, warning him.
Alfred, yeah. No, but so about Alfred, but to go warn Alfred. But the guy said that the reason why he sent him to the orphanage was because if Bruce Wayne doesn't blow up there, and Batman's here, that's possible how he can deduce that maybe they're the same person, and that's why.
I think we give Riddler too much credit, but there is in the Hush comics where he does deduce that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and then Bruce gives him the ultimate riddle of, if you already know the answer, it makes
exactly. Yes.
Goes, oh, shit. All right, wow.
And we talked about that when we thought that he knew that he was Batman and whatever, but also that he was his brother. So we talked about that. Well, you're like, well,
no, that orphanage scene was important in the sense of that's when he saw the footage.
Okay.
His dad saw, because remember that was when he saw about his mom.
Yeah.
He saw about his mom, and he was just like, I didn't know any of this. You
know?
And then that's when it kind of ends, giving him the inclination, I'm coming to kill Bruce Wayne, and that's when he speeds home.
So what story is that a part of with Martha having psychotic issues, or in the family?
From the Telltale, the Telltale games, that Martha spent time in Arkham, that the Waynes go far back a lot of people don't know this. Arkham is not just the name of the asylum.
No, it's
an
a
actual-
family.
Yeah, that's a family.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's her maiden name, Arkham.
Hmm?
Her maiden name is Arkham.
That's what this movie did, yes. But in
Okay.
the comics, the Arkhams aren't related to the Waynes whatsoever.
Okay.
It's just those are the factions in the old Gotham of the Waynes, the Arkhams, the.
Superman and Lois on. He's jumping in between the live and that.
I do have to watch them.
And I just didn't want. They get a reward or something for that penguin makeup. They should.
We'll see, because I tell you what, I can make a case. Again, it probably doesn't make the cut, but this deserves an Oscar nods way more than the movie y'all are trying to get.
Okay.
That's
Jeremiah Arkham. Explain. Is that the founder?
Jeremiah. Yeah, that's the OG Arkham.
Because I remember him. I remember that name from the game from Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's who started Arkham Asylum. Yep.
Okay. I think that's it. I think there was a nod to the game as well. I think as well, right? What wasn't there? Arkham Knight. Somebody said that it was a nod to the game. I don't know if it was the way it opened or something like that. Something to do with Arkham Knight. I can't remember what it was. But yeah. All right. Well, I guess let me take that off really quick. As I said, and I know I upset a couple of people in the comments. Well, because the thing is, like, I all I said was it's not my favorite Batman film. I didn't say it was bad. I have little critiques from it, but at the same time, saying it's either number 2, or number 3 on my all time Batman movies list, in what you can argue is anywhere between like 11 or 13 films.
You better behave on your Spider-Man's list then.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, because I want to ask this, because I think a lot of times it gets lost, and a lot of people take things differently than it should.
Okay.
So I want to ask you this. So when you say The Dark Knight is your number 1,
Hmm?
are you approaching that as you just feel as though it's a better movie?
I just feel so I understand where you think that Robert Pattinson is a better Batman. I completely agree. After watching the movie, I think he's a better Batman.
Oh yeah, way better.
Yes, out of every Batman I've ever seen, he's a better Batman.
Mhm.
Okay, I cannot argue that he's not the best Batman that we've ever gotten. Okay, fantastic. He's fantastic. Okay, movie I've ever watched. I've literally gone through and saw The Dark Knight every single time it's on. I will go to it every single time it's on. It's just because it's just the movie I like.
Yeah. And that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
That's all. That's all I wanted to know.
Yes.
Only because once you say that, that's where I put a period. I don't put a comma, and we keep. Once you tell me you just view it as a movie and you just love that movie,
Yes.
there's no conversation to be had. But that's why I said I don't. And you guys didn't do this, but I have been called this a lot. That's why I just don't like to be called a gatekeeper, because I'm like, if the conversation is the best Batman movie, right? But your knowledge of Batman is just the movies, I then go, well, you're missing out. But if you're telling me you just love the movie itself, there's no conversation to be had. I respect that. We high five. We go about our business.
Well, because there's also different factors. There's different factors, and there are other reason what. So again, it's how does a movie make me feel, right? Do I want to rewatch it? Do scenes jump at me?
But that's what it all falls along in the movie category, and that's what Jawan's
but
saying.
the other
But
big
that's
thing,
what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with the comic book character.
It has nothing to do with the character of Batman.
Hold on.
Because Joe, like, honestly, like Jawan's saying, like, for someone like Jawan who's like really into these comics, like hardcore, this does touch into a lot of that. Where all those Batmans, and for somebody who's a fan like Jawan, this, like my friend Mark, this was like a love letter to those fans. Like they were just like, there's no other movie that's ever going to touch it. It's fantastic. It's a love letter to those fans. And I completely get it. I get it. I absolutely get it.
See, here's my issue though. My issue with that really quick. But what I wanted to say earlier was the other thing is too, when you're talking about any superhero film, especially Batman. Batman is my favorite DC character, has always been. And there's a reason for that, though. It's not necessarily just because of Batman. It's because of his villains. I think he has the best villains. And my favorite villain, the exception of Darth Vader, obviously, my favorite villain of all time is the Joker. So when you have a movie that introduces this iteration of the Joker, again, what's the other growing theme? Who's in Batman 1989? The Joker, Jack Nicholson. Probably the second best Joker of all time, right? So it's just like, or some would argue the first best. It's a lot of things that come to play, and the villain itself also puts it above for me. Not just the story, but the villain. But the other thing is what you were
But
talking about.
this Batman too has an elevated villain.
Oh yeah,
Elevated. Wow.
But it's the accuracy of the villain. That's
Yeah.
that's the one thing I always hammer home is all these other Batman either were just overly comical or it was too grounded. So grounded that it takes you out of who the character is
But I
supposed
think that's what I liked about the Dark Knight too. You didn't get that really comical jokester
fair,
Joker.
but it was too grounded. Like the Joker, like when you rewatch that, right, and you just pay close attention to the Joker's motivations, and then you read the Joker in the comics, it's completely different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's different, right? So then you get to this, and everything about his Riddler, outside of just the costume, is spot on accurate to every single thing the Riddler would do. The Riddler is that somewhat maniac to where he is singing, he is just crazy, right? So he figures out who he is, and then he can just hone in on that. And then it's more so kind of like dark humor, riddles, stuff like that. So I'm like, that was a true essence of the Riddler. Again, it's not to say that what Heath Ledger did was bad. It was just different from the Joker that I've always known. Even Jack Nicholson's Joker was slightly different.
It was. No, it was.
The Joker that I know, me personally. So that's all I'm saying. But that's why I'm saying, to me, I will never knock someone that's like, this comic book movie was my favorite movie. Forget the accuracies and all that. It didn't matter to me. I just loved the movie. I can never argue with that. That's what you love. I can't tell you not to love it.
Yeah.
But it's when you get into the conversation of, oh, no, but they were so accurate as this. It's like,
oh, no.
Well, not really. You know what I'm saying?
Nolan's movies are never accurate. And some at moments you could even argue that it lacks kind of a tone in a way.
Yes, 100%.
And I think that's the issue that Nolan's movies had.
100%. Like, my biggest problem is the most fear Gotham has ever felt for the Batman is when he first establishes himself in Batman Begins, because they don't know what the hell this thing is, right? And then you get to the Dark Knight, and it's kind of just like, there's never really, like, I get you, Joe. There is that scene where the kind of lower level guys like, oh shit, like Batman's coming.
It's not just the lower level guys. You're also forgetting the fact, and the Joker actually brings it up. He goes, I know why you guys meet in the daytime. Like, you got the head mafia guys. They won't even come out at night. That's how scared they are of Batman.
You're absolutely right. But here's my one issue. None of those people in that room were actually any of the actual characters, like the actual mob characters. What was the first thing Falcone said when Batman has him against the... You think I'm afraid of you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
because you have rules. Because you have... So here's the reason why. And that was another reason why the Joker was such a really good villain, the way he was portrayed in The Dark Knight. There was a reason, because they started realizing that you have rules. You're not going to kill me. The Joker, he doesn't care. He will kill me. Right. And I like the fact that the Joker had no motive. And the one line that will always give me chills with what do you call it? Alfred, when he tells him, some men don't want to be bargained with or whatever. He goes, some men just want to watch the world burn. And that's how the Joker was. He didn't give a shit about money. He fucking burned his half. He burnt a stack of millions of dollars because it was just about fucking, he was crazy. And that was what made that Joker scary.
Right. But that's the biggest problem. What you just said, not about the Joker, but that is my issue with his portrayal of the Joker. But the fear of to know, like, oh, Batman won't kill me, so I'm not afraid. That's what you should never put in the Batman movie, because there should be an element of fear of, I don't know what he's capable of. Yeah, sure. Is he gonna slit my throat, put a bullet in my head? No. But could he let me go off this building? Hell yes. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's
And
what this movie.
fear.
This movie had that element
The
where they
Dark
were
Knight, and he
keeping
did in the Dark Knight. He does that.
be there. You know what I mean?
I get you, Joe. I get you. But what I mean by true fear is the fact that 3 different parts of Gotham were being terrorized, and 3 of them feared the Batman, and he only came out of one of them.
No, I understand that. But here's the other thing, though, too. The Dark Knight, for the most part, Batman's already been established, right? So the villains kind of already know. They know his game. They know his MO. Batman does not kill, right? That's what you want your Batman to be. That's Bruce, what do you call it? Robert Pattinson's Batman, Bruce Wayne, because it's only year 2. They have the uncertainty if he will go across that line.
But that's what I'm saying. Even if Robert Pattinson's Batman took place 5 years, right? 5 years after he first started, it's still the element of, I don't know what you're going to do. Yes, albeit you will not put a bullet in my head. I get that. It's still the fear of, I don't know what else you'll do, right? Because there's a lot of gray area between killing you and then bringing you right to the brink of.
And that's how I want Batman to be. That scene
on fire and still have a heartbeat.
That scene, look, that scene, and we saw it in the trailer already, but that scene, right, where he's beating the shit out of that guy in front of Catwoman, right? The final goon who basically says, what is it? What is the line he says? Something about not about the Riddler. What does he say?
Oh, by the way, I did want to speak to that because you were saying that they didn't really serve a purpose. The purpose had been set up. You saw it in the when he was watching the video the Riddler had left for him,
right
before he left to go to Gotham Square Garden, where the people in the comments were saying, "All right, you know, guys, don't forget your ropes, don't forget your rifles."
Yeah.
So the Riddler's plan was always, I do plan to get caught, but by the time you catch me, my plan will already have happened, where they already are shooting up. Because remember, I don't think he expected Batman to figure it out, right? So he thought, look, you could be good at
this. He wouldn't have. He wouldn't have if it wasn't for the cop.
That's what I'm saying. So they did serve a truer purpose. They just weren't able to fulfill it because Batman was that.
No. I mean, the big thing was obviously blowing up the seawall. So he got that done, and they trapped him. I didn't say that the purpose itself. So the purpose itself was obviously to gather everybody around. It was literally like, easy pickings because everybody was below. I just felt like they all had rifles or whatever, but the only thing they really did was get the shot off and shoot the mayor-elect, obviously not killing her. And then that was it. Obviously, I know Batman came in time, but that's why I said they were sort of pointless to an effect where they really didn't do anything.
Well, the point was once they flood was to pick them off. That's why they were so high.
Right. That's when I thought, I would have liked.
Flooded was just to pick them off, but
hopefully.
The flood, Batman coming in was around the same time as the flood, and then even when the moment you were talking about with Catwoman and Bruce, we forget he had taken out most of the guys. He had taken out that guy that got back up to shoot, but he had taken them out. So that was kind of that moment of them to kind of sealing the trust, where it was, I can trust you going forward, right?
Yeah.
Which I would have liked for her to kind of screw him over a little bit more, so that playfulness was still there. But I appreciated everything that the Riddler did. I thought he was freaking phenomenal.
Nicholson and Romero's Joker is still the most faithful to the comic, in my opinion. Obviously, Romero's Joker was in the Adam West series. Nicholson is by far the scariest of the bunch. He was evil and rotten to the core. Before I saw him more as a gangster / clown.
Did you see what he said? Did you see what he said before that? I was dying.
Oh no, I actually skipped something. I'm sorry. Forget my earlier comment. Riddler looks like that creepy college roommate that stares at you all day and eats your food when you're gone, and drinks a ton of dairy products.
Sounds real personal, Mystery. You clearly know somebody like that. I think the scariest Joker to me, especially if he was able to really live out his role, would have been Leto's. I loved that take. I love that take so much.
You know what? I get a lot of hate for that. I
I love
love
this Joker.
Leto's the take of the Joker. I just think he
100%.
overly did some stuff.
See, I didn't think that. I thought, because to me, David Ayer is someone I follow very closely. He's in my top 5 directors all time. What he was aiming for was, what would a today's version of the Joker look like, right?
Right,
And
I
in
thought it was
2016
superb.
right, and when 2016 when that came out, Takashi 69 wasn't that far away from that timeline, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like all the kids are starting to try to look like this. And what was Takashi's go-to car? A Lamborghini,
Yeah.
right? A very bright Lamborghini. It was very much a story of what today looks like. And what I love most about him was this Joker was different than all the other Jokers. Why? He was already well established. There was fear of the Joker. It wasn't an establishing fear.
And
I already fear this man.
And I like that. Not only that, they feared Harley, and they were together. It was like a power couple. They fit, and it was just like a modern times, like Bonnie and Clyde.
Right.
It was so badass.
And look, that club scene, it still stands out as one of my favorite DCEU scenes, where he's just like, yeah, you can have Harley. It's like, nah, that's your girl, Mr. J. No, enjoy her. It's just the mind games. I even love seeing the origin of Joker and Harley, where he's zapping her, zapping her.
Yeah.
I think if he was able to live out his Joker, and again, I think part of why a lot of people hated his Joker was just because Heath Ledger was so fresh. It still felt fresh, even though it was 2008. So they wouldn't have accepted any Joker, really, that came out around that time.
Ledger, although good in his own right, just didn't play Joker in my view. In my headcanon, he was playing a veteran from War of Imaginary Weapons of Mass Destruction. After seeing his friends killed, he lost his mind and killed his wife. But rest in peace to Ledger, though.
I completely agree. When you said the scene where he burned half of the money, that doesn't even sound like comic Joker.
No. By no means.
I'm saying, like,
no.
But that's why I said again, I can, like, two things can be true, in my opinion only. Is that an accurate comic book Joker?
No.
Is that still one of the greatest performances we've seen in a comic book movie?
Yeah.
1000%.
I definitely think you did
That's
both
why
to be true. Yeah.
Things can be true. That's why I said what I always tell you, Joe. It's a great movie, just not a great Batman movie.
Yeah.
That's all I say.
Right.
I can acknowledge both sides. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not hating the Dark Knight.
And that's why I said for me, and then that's why with the Batman itself, although I may not think it's the better film of between that and the Dark Knight, and I probably definitely put it up above Batman 1989. I got to rewatch that. That's probably
Batman 19. I watched that like on Hulu like a week ago. It still holds up. Again,
yeah, no, it holds up. I know. I watched it a few months ago, but I want it really fresh in my head.
Yeah,
So I do want to rewatch that. Batman 1989 for me was just more like nostalgic. I went to see that in the theater when I was like 10 or 11 years old, whatever it was. But Crayon Dude wants to know what color is your hair?
It's like
Oh, not me. Okay.
No, it's like a wine color, pink purplish.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, but again, like I said, there's no way I would never say this movie was bad.
No.
What did I say? I gave
Someone. Let me just say, because you guys were bringing up like you were looking at other people's lists and stuff like that.
No, what? No.
No, I did. Not her. I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. I came out of the theater hot, sweat in my eyeballs.
Yeah, and I told Kitty too, because Kitty was asking me. I said, Kitty, I want you to see the film. I don't want to corrupt your views.
Yes.
So I'm not going to tell you how I felt.
I'm just saying I saw someone's list that had Lego Batman ahead of this movie.
That's a list. One of the lists I saw too. But yeah, Lego Batman.
That
You know what's?
like.
You know what other movie came? You know what other movie was put in front of it? Phantasm. The cartoon.
That's a great movie that I do put very high.
I saw Phantasm high above it on a couple of lists. But for the most part, like I said, I think for the majority of it was either anywhere between 2 or 3 or 4.
I legit came out of the theater and I am Joey immediately and told him how I felt.
Yeah.
I didn't look at any lists.
Thank you, Crayon Dude. I just got it. I just got it on Amazon.
Yeah, for my list, it will. My list is very drastically different. So 1 would be The Batman.
Mhm.
2 would be Batman Returns. 3 would be Batman 89. 4 would
See,
be The Dark Knight.
I kind of see. Mine would be The Dark Knight, and then Batman Returns, and then the Batman.
Yeah, a lot of people. I've seen a list where Batman Returns, a couple of lists. Batman Returns is higher than Batman
I
1989.
mean, it has to be, bro. That is Michelle Pfeiffer.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Oh,
why
I
I thought you
can't-
talked about Michelle Pfeiffer. Like that is such a
Come on.
badass movie because of Michelle.
I know, but I can't now. I definitely can't go back and watch that because of how good I love Selena Kyle in this film.
She's
They're
great.
just 2 different ones because
It's
like
just
what
2
he was
different
going
talents.
for, what he was going for in Michelle Pfeiffer, Selena Kyle was she literally became a manifestation.
Oh yeah,
Right. So he was actually going for more like he's literally a bat, she's literally a cat. This was more so comic accurate to where he just dresses as a bat, she just dresses as a cat burglar. So they were two different ones.
Hi everyone, Batman and Robin. Hey Trayvon. Hi everyone, Batman and Robin is awesome, and so is this movie. Okay, good night. Trayvon. I do want to really quick. I want to reference Trayvon because I didn't watch the whole thing because obviously I didn't want to go into spoilers because I didn't see it yet. But I know he said that there were a couple things that were convenient, or maybe one thing that was convenient, and that was one of the things I noticed. And I don't know if he meant that in the chase, you know, when the truck thing comes down just in time for the bat to the Batmobile to jump across the flames. That was the only thing I saw. I mean, I was okay with it. It is
I
what it is.
will say, as I told Trayvon, conveniency in a movie where you're supposed to
Crayon Dude and I are on the same page.
It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, Juwan, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No,
Convenience.
I was just saying convenience in a superhero movie where you're clearly supposed to suspend belief. Yes, you will get some convenience.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, wait a minute, why aren't they? Because he passed out. I was like, why aren't they taking the mask off? I would have been like, I want to fucking see who this guy looks like. That was when he was in the police precinct and the cops were surrounding him.
I didn't think that was convenient. I just more so took it as it's still the fear of who the Batman is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't see that as convenient either. That's just, yeah.
The only reason I wanted them to try to take it off is because the one thing I always loved about Batman was it'll shock the shit out of you.
Kitty, you should be Catwoman's daughter. Little do they know, you could be Catwoman's mom.
Right? Thanks, Joe. Thanks for outing me.
No, I mean,
Batman has Robin.
Actually, no.
Catwoman would have Kitty. Batman has Robin.
Yeah.
Catwoman has Kitty.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. No, you're not that old. You definitely be. You could. Yeah. You wouldn't be Catwoman's mom. Yeah. So I am. I was thinking about Robin. I was also thinking like, you know, this would be the perfect environment and the best way to introduce him is this world, because he won't be like a Batman and Robin. Like he won't be that nature. You know what I'm saying?
34 fucking years old.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah. So, I
ass in that movie. You know that? Like, I rewatched it because Trayvon swears by it. So I said, you know what? I think I'm being too mean. Let me rewatch it. It starts with ass. And then it's just consecutive, just ass.
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, no.
Ass shot.
And Mr. Ree said it the best way. Batman and Robin is the greatest parody Batman film of all time.
You know what? You can compare that. You could go Scream, Scary Movie. The Batman and Robin. You could 100% go that. It's the Marlon Wayans of Batman movies. I agree.
Ooh, how do you feel about that? And then we're gonna pretty much wrap it up right after this. Jason Todd be the first Robin in this universe.
What? No.
Ooh.
No. What? No.
Nah, you got to start with Dick. You got to start with Dick.
Yeah.
Come on, man. No.
Because I want it done the right way. I want them to start with Dick, and I'm not trying to be funny. I want them to start with Grayson because I want a Nightwing.
Yes. I mean, bro, this is the 90th time in DC live action history Bloodhaven has been mentioned, and there's no fucking Nightwing there.
Yep.
CW, everywhere.
It's not that much ass.
It's that much. It starts with them ass shot. Come
The
on.
other thing is too, and the reason why I didn't want to rank this movie as high, right? I think I gave it an 8.7, right? Which I don't think is that bad. A lot of people are, I think right now it's sitting at 8.6 on Rotten Tomatoes. And everybody else seems to be rating like an 8, 8.5. Some obviously people giving it 9, 9.5. But the other thing is too, like that you need room for improvement, right? I agree that this movie was great, but there are a lot of things I think that Matt could build upon.
Oh yeah, I think
So
his
this,
next thing is going to be
I think the sequel to this film will be even better than this film.
absolutely.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I think
I
so.
look at this movie.
If you rate, if you put it at a 10, how can the second or anything after that come be better?
Godfather 1 was perfect. Godfather 2.
Stop this conversation. I'm not having it with YouTube.
Perfect.
Don't have it again.
Easily. Men in Black, perfect. Men in Black 2, perfected perfect.
Men in Black 3 was actually even better. Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, not even close.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I would hate to have the name Dick.
Again, his name is not Dick. It's
Richard.
Grayson.
It's Richard.
It's Richard. Dick is just a nickname.
Can't wait to watch this movie again Saturday.
No one calls him that, though. Like, if you read the books, literally no one in the Bat family calls him that. Like, hey, Dick. Like, no one says that. But it is just a nickname. It's a common nickname derived from Richard. It's Dick.
You answer this. I have no idea.
Yes. You know what, Crayon Dude? Let me help you. He will die in the Flash. There you go.
Okay. No, but I'm saying, but he's going to be in another film, right?
It's
Yes, but
supposedly
only
the Flash.
to fulfill his obligation.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the Flash, right?
Yeah.
That's what I read.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Very briefly, Michael Keaton is your new Batman for that universe.
Yeah.
Go ahead and wrap the mind around it.
I never knew that, Crayon Dude.
In that new, what is it, Batgirl movie? Or
Yes.
I was asking this question since I'm a kid. You could probably know how you get the dick in Richard, but I don't know how you get the dick out of Richard.
Bro, I've seen people whose names are John and their nickname is Bob. You can't explain these things.
Or Will and Bill. Yeah, I know, dude.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
I mean,
or Hank.
The word is island, but it has an S in it. Like, there's just certain things that, you know, it just is.
I just don't understand how your name is Richard and you just go, no, don't call me Rich. Call me Dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that would be weird. Yeah. You would have some questions to ask
Are you
that
doing
person.
that thing again on me again? Are you leaking? All right, he's leaking on me again, so that's not fun. All right.
That's what she said.
So.
Ew, what? Why would she say that?
Nice.
Ew.
Nice.
I feel like I needed to plug that in because you guys do it to me all the time.
That being said,
such a weird one.
That being said, I do give this movie actually. I think it's a high score. I think 8.7. I think is really high. Couldn't even
8.7.
Yeah.
What do you give The Dark Knight?
Juwan's about
9.2. It's not that much higher, and I give at the moment it could switch. I give Batman 89 like an 8.8, something like that.
Just one notch better.
It's one notch better.
Oh, wait till you hear this, Juwan.
But 9.2, and like I said, it's only that low because of fucking Bale. You don't get Bale out of there. You put Robert Pattinson in The Dark Knight, holy shit.
Yeah, but then you don't get that Joker though.
You know, yeah.
You don't get that Joker. It focused a lot on Joker.
Yeah. Picture Alfred saying Master Dick and tell me it doesn't make you chuckle a bit. Of course it does.
No, but he says it all the time.
Yeah.
Master Dick.
Yeah.
I would give it an 8.5.
Okay. 8.5. Juwan gives it a 9.9.9.
No.
Wait, that doesn't make sense.
Godfather will forever be the only thing that gets it's as close to 10 as possible. Godfather 1 and 2. Okay. No, I think I gave this a 9.7.
Okay.
9.7.
All right.
9.7.
All right.
There was, like I said, there weren't many things that I think need to be improved. You just make an even better movie. Like, I think two things can be true. A movie was great, and then you just make an even better version of that.
Okay.
That's what a lot of people thought going from Infinity War to Endgame. I disagree, but a lot of people thought, great movie, and then you just made it better.
Yeah. No, I agree there because, like I said, depending on how I feel, I can swap those out. Infinity War and Endgame. Most days I'll say Endgame is better, but for the most part, I can agree. Infinity War does have elements where I can be like, all right, maybe that's a little bit better today.
My only issue is it just works in the opposite. One is pure action driven, and then the other one is pure story driven. And It's like that's usually not what a sequel does.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opposite. So
Yeah.
that's why it's a snore fest for me until like the last maybe hour.
So right now, the only thing I have, and I said on my Instagram that I could probably have some pop ups here and there as far as streams go. But the only things I have planned was obviously tonight. This Friday, I have a Spider-Man live action film. Notice I did live action. Spider-Man live action film ranking, and then next week, Scream spoiler review.
I
So,
actually have it on Paramount Plus right now to watch.
Scream.
I watched it on an airplane. I was like, "What is this?" Yeah.
I'm not working, so I bought it.
What does that even mean?
Makes sense. You know, he's $20 on a movie. And Infinity War didn't give me my no shit Sherlock line.
Yeah, it was one of those too obvious lines. Like you put it in there, and it's just like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, really? Ain't really.
What do you got coming up on your channel, Juan?
I honestly don't know. I'm getting back into the swing of really consistently potting, really.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna do Figure It Out Thursday. I didn't want to do it tonight, out of respect for the Batman.
Well,
stream.
plus I wanted you to come on.
Right. Of course I wanted to come on.
Of course you wanted to come.
I don't even want to speak anymore. No.
I can only imagine. Mystery, I can only imagine. Let's see. Spider-Man. Remember live action though. I know a lot.
How can you be unorthodox?
He's got Amazing Spider-Man
Mystery.
number 2.
We are very good friends, Mr. E. Yeah, if the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is like in your top 3,
Amazing Spider-Man number 2 will probably be up there.
Yeah, I'll block you. No, I did want to do a stream with you for your channel at some point. There's been rumors that we could see a maskless Vader for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
I know.
And a lot of people got like all up in arms about that. But in the comics, he did it all the time. He just would use the Force to maintain his breathing. But that just meant he couldn't really utilize the Force anywhere else. So that is something I kind of want to dig into a little bit.
Now, is that literally just to utilize Hayden's face?
Yes, of course. Yeah. How the hell would you bring him back as Vader? Just anyone could have been in that.
Well, because I heard that there possibly will be de-aged flashbacks, Clone Wars.
There will be flashbacks. I don't think Hayden Christensen does not look like he.
I didn't. Yeah, he didn't really. When somebody said that they're going to de-age him, granted, he definitely looks older than he did in like Attack of the Clones, but not by much.
No.
Yeah, it's not like Mark Hamill.
That's like saying Tom Cruise looks older from Top Gun to Top Gun 2. Yes, but not much.
No.
Like, he doesn't look like, oh my God, you're 90. Like, no, he looks just like, okay, 10 years maybe.
And keep it a mystery until Friday.
But I did want to just update you and Kitty. Thor Love and Thunder, Obi-Wan Kenobi trailers, and the Moon Knight trailers will be within the next few weeks.
I thought there were rumblings of them dropping on Investors Day.
Probably will drop. The Thor trailer probably won't drop.
No, Obi-Wan. I'm thinking
Obi-Wan
yeah.
will probably drop maybe a little earlier. And then they'll focus on stuff like She-Hulk and stuff like that. But you will be getting Defenders announcements soon. Also, there was a reason they brought those guys home.
Okay.
They're bringing it back.
No, not necessarily calling them the Defenders, but what they're going to be doing with those specific characters.
Oh, with the specific characters, got it. Yeah, because I think I heard rumblings that they want to bring like Jessica Jones and all those.
Well, she's supposed to be in She-Hulk.
Yeah, that's.
She's supposed to be Jessica's go-to PI.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she needs a PI. So she should be soon. The only two that are a mystery is three. Punisher, Luke Cage, and
I need Punisher back in some realm. I need him back somewhere. I need him back.
They're building it. They're building that dark world that will fit right in with the Punisher.
But where they're saying that, I think I was reading that if they do bring his character back in that type of realm back, that they would have to put him on Hulu, right? Because Disney owns Hulu.
It would be on Disney Plus.
Well, that's what I heard, because they were saying that it would be too dark and too greedy.
They just announced that they have a adult feature for Disney Plus.
Yeah, they're changing the parental in order to do that.
All right in.
Right.
Yeah.
The need
Uh,
to put it on Hulu is just way too confusing.
it's actually a real question. The really good question. The last movie non-Star Wars that I remember seeing him in was Jumper.
Last movie I remember seeing him in that everyone shits on because they forget about it was a movie called Awake with Jessica Alba and Terrence Howard. He was fucking amazing in that movie.
I
I
didn't see
did
that.
see that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The movie, just anyone that's like, oh, what is that about? I don't care to watch it. The movie was just about he was in a coma.
I
Hulu,
think I just watched it because
Ooh.
Terrence Howard was in it. I think
Yeah.
that's why I watched it.
Hulu will be obsolete soon. I hope not. Well, I mean, I don't have it now because I got rid of.
Hulu won't be obsolete because there's no way they're putting Family Guy on Disney.
Yeah,
Plus.
I want adult films in Disney Plus.
Wait, whoa, Crayon dude. Whoa.
Jesus.
You can get it in Hulu. Pam and Tommy is on Hulu.
Whoa.
Go watch that.
Yeah, I know.
Go watch that. That's all the adult films you need.
All right, guys. That being said, I'm going to say goodnight. I do want to thank my panelists, Kitty and Juwan. It was fun. I know it got dark there at one point, dark night, no pun intended. But like I said, for the most part, I thought the Batman was a solid film, and I probably would go. I probably would watch it again. If I had a friend that said, "Hey, look, I haven't seen it yet," which is the case, you want to go see it with me? I will. You know,
If
it's
a
not like
friend told me I was going into an air-conditioned theater,
Yeah.
I'd go.
yeah, of course.
I'll tell you what. Mark this down is one of my quotes. Like when you see the commercial for the Batman where they put up everyone's quotes, it was as good as sex. Put it up there. Quote me. Quote
Well,
me.
speaking of sex, we got Peter North reference here. I want to see Yoda give Ahsoka a money shot, Peter North style.
Mr. E, where does your mind go?
What is
I think
wrong
I'm
with
gonna
this?
First of all, where is this chat going? Really quick. Now we're getting. I mean, this happened hours ago, but Russell Wilson to be
it started
traded.
with ass, and it just kept rolling from
Yeah,
there.
it's because of Trayvon. It's Trayvon's fault. He brought
Knicks should trade for who's John Morant?
Okay, yeah, that'll never happen, but
And yeah, Wilson was traded to the Broncos. So, all right, guys. Like I said, stay tuned for this Friday. I think I put it for the same time, 7:30 p.m. Spider-Man live action films ranked, and then of course, and then next Friday is same time, 7:30. Scream spoiler review. I might have something in between, but nothing planned right now. So just stay tuned for that. Like I said, guys, thank you very much, and I will see everybody all really soon.